Go. So today is Tuesday, June 6, 2023. My name is Christina Dillabo. I'm the Director of Communications for the Desert Southwest Conference, and this is Tuesday Talks, weekly gathering with church communicators to talk about things that are coming up from the conference, from the districts, sometimes from the churches or other, who knows what else, but hopefully by participating today or watching this recording, you'll get a little bit more information of what you'll need to better support your churches, your congregation, your ministries, whatever. And if you didn't hear what you were hoping to hear, please email me, communications@dscumc.org, and ask me your question, and I'll respond via email, but I'll also cover that question in a following Tuesday Talks. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about is annual conference. So I've seen emails from churches that are part of the church newsletter, where it's information about preparing for annual conference, where an observer might be able to watch the live stream, and where to find other documents for annual conference. So in case you haven't sent anything out and you're thinking about sending something, or maybe as you're getting closer to annual conference, this is when the delegates might be asking you, the church communicator, what am I supposed to do? I registered. How do I know that I have everything I need for annual conference? So one of the common questions is, what device should I bring? You, as a delegate, a voting delegate, those are the people that really need to bring some type of electronic smart device to annual conference. A Kindle is not going to work, so be sure to ask specifically, what are you bringing to annual conference? Because they can't use a Kindle just because they can go online with it. For whatever reason, it doesn't work for what we need at annual conference. So a laptop, smartphone, what else? An iPad, those types of things, tablets will work. It's just a Kindle's the only one that won't. And on Monday, June 12th, annual conference delegates will receive an email with their voting credentials and information about joining via Zoom. I'm not positive yet if every delegate is going to get the Zoom join link. We're actually in discussion with our AV team right now about that, or if only those that register to participate online and that they're voting delegates will get the Zoom link. But the reason why we might send it to everyone is because if something changes last minute, you registered to attend in person, but now I was exposed to COVID, or something happened where I can't go, but I still need to participate. I'm able and willing to. So then if you have the Zoom information as a voting delegate, you can still participate and do everything you need to do without being there at the Mesa Convention Center. All right, so let's see. So you would just need either a laptop or a smartphone or tablet to participate. When you're there, you're going to join the Wi-Fi at annual conference, and we should have power at every table. So be sure to bring your charging cords, because the one charge is probably not going to last for you all day long if you're using it to access documents, to vote, and whatever. The first day of annual conference should not be the first time, though, that the voting delegate reviews the documents for annual conference. I'm going to share my screen real quick. The voting delegate should go to dscumc.org/AC and go to the pre-conference briefing button to find the legislation that's already been put forward that you'll be voting on. You'll find which items are going to be on the consent calendar. Here's the legislative items. There's also this Culture Covenant document that's available in Spanish, Korean, and English that will be reviewed at annual conference. They can look at any of the reports that they want to, but the big deal stuff, the things that you'll be voting on, are these first items. And I highly recommend that they watch the pre-conference video. This is going to explain quite a bit about voting, and do I need a password, or is it a voting ID, what email address I should use. They talk about the different consent calendar items and what else? The different events that are going to be happening at annual conference. So make sure that your delegate has gone to this page and reviewed these documents and watched the pre-conference briefing video. All right, let me go back to the annual conference page. And then other things that you might be asked about is where, I'm not a delegate, I'm just an observer, or I just want to watch this certain worship service. I want to watch the ordination service. So where do I go to see that? Just send everybody to this dscumc.org/AC page, because the live stream will be embedded on this page, not the homepage of the conference. So not at dscumc.org. It needs to be dscumc.org/AC or annual-conference. And this is where it'll be. The reason why I'm telling you to send them here is because, yes, we are going to be live streaming to YouTube, but not all of the pieces will be live streamed to YouTube. We're definitely not live streaming on Facebook. Things that happen at the conference will be live streamed on the conference's YouTube. Things that happen, worship services that happen at the church, will be live streamed through the church's live stream channel. So it'll make it a lot easier for you and less confusing for your congregation or visitors, whoever it is that wants to watch the live stream, to just get the one link, dscumc.org/AC, as the place to go to be able to watch whatever's happening, the place to go to find the agenda. That will be linked here. It's not the final draft, or as final as it will be, will be linked on this page. It's not ready yet, but this is where you'll find it. This is where you'll be able to find, there'll be a new button here. Instead of pre-conference, it'll be documents. And that's where, some of the same information from the pre-conference briefing will be on that page, but that's where new documents will be available. So if there was a resolution that's presented on the floor for the first time, your delegates will need to know how to get to that document. And they'll get instructions at annual conference about that, but there'll be a documents link here, and also under quick links, there'll be a documents link, and that's where they'll find that stuff. So although registration is closed, June 1st, was the deadline for registration, there are other things that people can still register for. If you've got clergy that haven't registered for the clergy luncheon on June 15th, they can still register. I believe these registration links will come down on Monday next week. So you still have a week left to register. It's free. If they registered for annual conference, they can click here to register for the luncheon. It's included in their registration. It's just not assumed that every clergy person is going to go. The registration is needed so that they can properly prepare and have the right amount of food and all that. Also, orientation to ministry is still available to register for that. So if you or someone at your church is interested in becoming ordained at some point, wants to explore what does it look like, how much does it cost to go through that ordination path, this is a requirement. You have to participate in this if you're going to actually follow through with a path towards ordination. It doesn't mean that just because you attended this event, now you're locked in, you have to become a pastor and all that business. It's just an information session, but it is a requirement to ordination. It happens every year. So if you decided, I don't know, I'm still thinking about it, you don't have to participate this year. You could do it next year, but heck, why not? Just join this year or register, do it. At least you have more information to keep thinking about what is God calling you towards. So send people that way. Then on Saturday during annual conference, that is Saturday, June 17th, there's going to be a special missions ministry pastoral. It's an event that's called Walk, Run, Write. So people can participate either by walking, by running, or by writing. And it's basically praying for all the other conferences as we lead or head towards general conference. There'll be more information on the day of, but we do need people to register so that we can prepare and make sure we have the right amount of cards for the writing station or water bottles, or just to know how many people to expect and have a successful event. So if your delegates or your observers that are planning to attend annual conference in person have already registered, awesome. But maybe they haven't noticed that they should register for the walk, run, write activity. That link is going to remain live at least until Monday. I haven't heard if we're going to leave it open throughout annual conference up until that Saturday. So be sure to send them over that way. What else? Do you have any questions about annual conference? Okay, then let me see here. The next question I want to cover is about Zoom licenses. Now I'm going to share my screen and share a PowerPoint with you. Let's do this one. Here we go. All right. So the questions I have been getting is about, we're nearing the time where we're going to have some changes in pastoral leadership, and sometimes the Zoom license that the church purchased for the church, it has the pastor's personal email address or the pastor's church email address, whatever. And if this pastor is going to move to another church, well, the new pastor needs access to that Zoom license. So I'm going to just show you one possibility of making that switch, because it changes depending on what your Zoom licenses are. I'm assuming that this is a Desert Southwest Conference license. And so I'm going to walk you through what to do to switch it out for Desert Southwest Conference. But if this doesn't work for you, there may be other things that we need to do. It's not the same for everybody. There's so many unique situations that happen. Okay, so the first thing you would do is log in, go to zoom.us and log in, click here on the sign in link and log in with the clergy's. Again, I'm assuming it's the clergy person that would switch out. So you would log in, or the clergy person would log in with their email address that they normally use. And then once you're logged in, you go to the profile section. And here you can hover over the picture and change out the picture. If you want to put the church's logo instead, you can change the name. And then the important thing, though, is that you need to change the email address that's associated to this account. So it's just a blue little link there. You click edit, and then you'll have the opportunity to type in the new email address. And it's very important that the new email address, somebody needs to have access to that email address. I've had it in the past where one switch like this, they entered an email address that they were going to create for the new pastor, but they didn't have it live yet. And so the profile switch didn't work, because you also need to be able to access the new email address. So once you enter that information, then you both have to confirm the changes. The original Zoom user and the new Zoom user both have to go into the email account and click on the link in an email that you'll get from Zoom on behalf of the Desert Southwest Conference. Click on that to confirm the changes. And then the new Zoom user at this point can log in with the new email address. It'll be the old password. So they'll put that in there and change it to their own preferred password. If the original Zoom user loves using this particular password for other accounts, I recommend that you first change your password and then start the switch to a new email and all that, so that you're not sharing your preferred password. Just something like password 123 would be fine for this instance, because it's just going to be one day of a terrible password. All right, questions about that? Okay, I'm not seeing any raised hands, but I don't see everybody, so please be sure to unmute if you do have a question. Okay, the next item. Oh, wait a minute. Then I forgot. So then you also don't forget to update the app on your desktop as well. So the new person might have their own laptop or phone or whatever that they're going to use Zoom with, and this might be their first time using Zoom. So be sure to send them to go to zoom.us/download to download the Zoom desktop app, and then they'll get the app that may be black like this if they use the dark background like I do, or it might be white. But anyway, there they'll enter their email address and their new password and sign in. So just that easy. All right, so you maybe heard about the clergy lay leadership development leadership talks. You certainly heard about Tuesday talks because you're here and watching this recording, if this is recording for you. But the newest thing is something called Monday Moments. And for Monday Moments, you can find either the registration or the recordings for these Monday events. I'm going to go back to another screen. Go to this one. You can find those either on the New Faith or Vital Faith. Sorry, I got to move stuff over. On the New Faith or Vital Faith page. You can also find them in the conference calendar. Like you can see here, here's this is the upcoming Monday Moments. So you could always click there. But if you want to see everything that's coming up, I recommend that you either go to dscumc.org/new-faith or dscumc.org/vital-faith. And then you can click here to see all of the Monday Moments. Like these two already happened. So you would click to the webinar recording and then use this passcode. And then if you wanted to attend one of these other ones, then you would click on these links to register. So you as the church communicator might not participate in any of these, but you could tell your finance team about this, your church treasurer about this one, maybe your lay leader, or if you have like an outreach team or something like that, you could tell them about that one. So there's different ones that it depends. Maybe it's just your pastor. You want to tell your pastor about all of these, or tell your church council about all of these. Don't hang on to this information for yourself. As the church communicator, the liaison, you should pass this on to the people that it makes sense in your church. It might be one person for all of these. I don't know. It depends on your church. All right, questions about those? Okay, so if there's something here, this is kind of like Tuesday talks where the topics are not in any particular order. It's not because there's some kind of an agenda. It's really just coming out of questions that are commonly received at the New and Vital Faith ministries department or committees. And so they're just trying to provide a path for more people to learn about XYZ stuff. And if people ask about something else, then it might be something that could work out for another Monday Moments recording. And they're not trying to do it every single week. They're not trying to keep you busy. They're just trying to provide information for you. All right, questions about that one? Okay, then I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and go over find a church. Okay, so this is an ongoing thing that your church, as you as the church communicator, or maybe it's your lay leader, trustees person, I don't know who it would be at your church, that needs to know that Find a Church has updated. And chances are there are updates at your church that need to be entered into the Find a Church website. So if you go to this link, and I will include it in my follow-up notes, you're going to find the place where you can find out about why should you have a Find a Church profile, and videos for every one of these steps of how to log into the portal, how to create a new update, add information about when you have worship, when you have small group studies, all that stuff. There's multiple little videos on that page here. Let me show you just to make sure we get it. Okay. So this is that link, update your Find a Church profile. And here's the step 1, there's a video for that. Step 2, there's a video for that, and so on. So they're trying to make it as easy as possible, because sometimes the buttons for how to update, it's not super clear. And sometimes it's been where maybe this is a new church or it's not a new church for whatever reason, your church profile isn't in there at all. So what do? All of that, like they should watch the videos and you should be able to get your answer. If you don't, you can contact me or your district superintendent. Sometimes it requires that, I remember in the past years ago that it might be that the district superintendent needed to turn something in to United Methodist Communications, I guess. I don't know where they turn stuff into, but to let, to kind of validate that, yes, this church does exist. It's a new ministry and da da da. And then it becomes available to search and update and add all that information. You can even add a picture of your church in there. So why would you want to do that if you have your own church website, your own social media stuff? People can Google us and find us. Well, why not? Like, this is another way that people might discover your church. And if you're not actively updating it with the information that you want people to know about your church, then what they'll see is just kind of a blank profile. And that's also a reflection of your church. You don't want people to think that you don't care, that, whatever, all kind of negative things that people might think if they see a blank profile of your church. You want to always put your best foot forward. So be sure to go to the Find a Church profile page and update your church's profile, especially if you're getting a new pastor. Thanks. Oh, wow. I didn't know the thumbs move now. Very cool. Thanks, David. If you're watching the recording, you might not have seen that one of our participants, David Topping, just did the thumbs up icon and it goes up and down now. That's so cool. The things that make me happy. All right. Does anybody have anything to share? Because that's all I had. If you have questions or something, Richard, go ahead and
I'm sorry I was late getting in, and you already talked about what I had a question about. My question is this, and maybe you can just point me where I can find the answer. My lay delegate is going to attend online. They are not exactly the most technologically competent person, and I know they've received an email with links and instructions to vote and all that kind of thing. But is there any way I can see what they received so I can go through and try it and then guide them?
Yes. So the dscumc.org/AC page has this bright pink button called pre-conference briefing.
Okay.
This video is what they would have watched. You just have to click there and do a really simple.
Okay.
Well, I guess you do have to register. I don't, because I've already watched it and registered. Right. That's why it works for me. Okay. But it's a really simple, I think it's just your name and church name. That's it.
So the pre-conference briefing, in the past, we think, that's about legislation and issues and stuff coming up, but it also covers the how-tos, you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And then we will also have a voting instructions and practice at the start of annual conference, not early, but before any voting happens. That's very first thing we do. So that is helpful while you're there, but some super important things to know about from the pre-conference video is that it does talk about how a Kindle is not going to work, what type of device you should bring. And I don't know that we mentioned it, so I'm going to mention it again now, that we will have charging stations at every table. So they should also remember to bring their cables so they can stay powered up.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Please be sure to send your email, even if I maybe we covered everything and you forgot something that I said. Send me an email and I will quickly type you up an email reply so you've got what you need to get your newsletter out, to answer questions to your delegates. What's up, Bob?
Just a quick question. Did you mentioned that there was an email sent out regarding pre-conference briefings? Did that go out on the DSC UMC email addresses, or did it come to our personal emails?
No, it would have gone to, for clergy, that pre-conference briefing, the invitation to participate and watch it and all that would have gone to your dscumc.net email address. I emphasize the net because sometimes people have made the different switches where a clergy person says, hey, my email address isn't working anymore because they were typing .org. Sometimes I don't get an email because they're typing it to cdilabo@dscumc.net instead of .org. So clergy are .net, staff is .org.
Okay, and what about lay delegates?
The delegates would have received the email to whatever email address that they submitted
To
in their
their
registration.
personal email? Okay,
Well, in the registration form, or like if we sent it before they registered, then we sent it to the email address that was entered in the charge conference forms. So this is a great reminder to make sure that your charge conference forms and charge conference season does not have the pastor's email address in there for everybody or the church email address for people. Make sure it's the lay delegates email address for that part. If you don't have a lay delegate at the time, I get it. You got to fill it out with something. But once you have identified who they are, contact L. Davalos at dscumc.org to let her know who your lay delegates are and what their email address is.
gotcha.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and if there's a change where your lay delegate can no longer go, they're not going to participate via Zoom, something happened, and now they're going to pass it over to the alternate. Please let Lorena Davalos know about that as well. Then the alternate will get the voting credentials and we'll shut off the voting credentials for the original delegate. If you didn't have a lay delegate registered before, an alternate registered, or this is a new switch, now it's a brand new alternate lay delegate, any of that stuff with registration, voting credentials, will eventually need to get to Lorena Davalos. But since registration has closed, step one is going to be to contact your district superintendent. Then I think they are the ones that will contact Lorena Davalos, but an email to her just to make sure she's aware would be very much appreciated.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you all, and I hope to see many of you at annual conference. So probably next week I won't have a Tuesday talks, but I will send out an email to all the Tuesday Talk subscribers with specific instructions on how to find the email about the voting credentials and the Zoom link. Righty?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.